Hello and welcome to this tutorial in my toolkit. In this video, I will demonstrate how to import NIfTI files into a database. To start, I have an empty database where I want the images to be imported into. The folder I want to import contains images from 3 subjects. Each folder contains 2 subfolders, separating anatomy and diffusion weighted images, where the anatomy folder contains a T1 weighted image and the DWI folder contains diffusion weighted images. However, for the sake of the import, this specific organization doesn't really matter. To import the data, first make sure you select the target database. Then, go to Database and select Import NIfTI from folder. Then select the folder that contains all the subfolders and images you want to import and click Select. This dialog window allows you to define the metadata of the imported images. The File Preview drop-down shows all NIfTI files that was found in the selected folder and subfolders. The fields let you define the metadata and organization of the imported images into the database. Each row defines one metadata tag, or property, of the image. The first column shows the name of the property. The second column is where you set the source for the value of this property. It can, for example, be from a folder name, a file name, a text string, and so on. The third column is where you define, for example, which subfolder should be used, or where you can add your free text. You see the result of the selected preview file in the fourth column. The series name and series description defines the name of the image in the database and the series description metadata tag. I want the names to be taken from the file name, so I can select that from the drop-down list. We can see the result of this selection in the fourth column. If I change to another preview file, I can see the tag values for that file. I'm happy with that. Next is the series date and series time. You can select the date using the drop-down option, and you can also define the time if you want. The patient ID can be selected from the name of a subfolder. By default, the first subfolder is selected, but in the third column you can select which of the subfolders should define the patient ID. The patient name is a text input by default, but it can be set to, for example, a random name. The frame of reference UID defines a frame of reference code for the image. If you want all images to share a frame of reference, you can leave this input as is. If you want all images to have a unique frame of reference, you can select a random DICOM UID. Then we have the modality, which by default is MR. I will leave this unchanged. Next, you can select the study date and study time. I will leave this as is. I will set the study description to be a text input with the name diffusion. I leave the study instance UID as is. If you define a random DICOM UID, each image will end up in a separate study, which I do not want in this case. Now, I can hit import to start the import of the NIfTI files. When it's done, you can close the import dialog. Let's take a look at the database. It contains 3 subjects with random names. Each subject has one study with the study name diffusion, which contains a T1 weighted image and the diffusion weighted images. This is all I wanted to show you in this video. So thank you for watching, and I'll see you again in the next video.